I could say, if all spaghetti monsters exist necessarily, then I will worship at the altar of marinara. This is ridiculous, right? But I can turn this into a deductive argument. I can say all spaghetti monsters do exist necessarily. Therefore, what's my conclusion, y'all? What has to be true if these premises are true? What am I going to be doing if these premises are true? Well, so that is what premise 2 says, that all spaghetti monsters exist necessarily. So what follows from that combined with premise 1? I will worship at the altar of marinara. Exactly, right? So I said, if something happens, then something else will follow. And I just satisfied the antecedent condition, right? So as long as that's satisfied, whatever I said follows has to happen. Okay, now, of course, that doesn't mean these statements are true in the real world, but the structure is such that if they were true, the conclusion would have to be true, okay? So this is the weird thing about argumentation. We're actually looking at the structure of the arguments first before we actually check to see if the statements are true in the real world. And the reason for that is, one, especially in religion, we're not always able to go out and check, right? So sometimes the structure is all we have to go on. But even the funny thing is that even if the premises are true in the world, that doesn't mean it's a well thought out argument, right? So it's not really worth our time to go out and assess whether or not the statements are true or false if the structure isn't even there, right? Because then it doesn't matter if the statements are true because the conclusion doesn't follow. All right, so structure first, then we go out and check to see if it's true in the world. So this was a deductively valid argument, as long as my conclusion is that I will worship at the altar of marinara. Now, Jacqueline, if my conclusion had been that the spaghetti monster exists, that would be not following a deductively valid form. So that's what we would call an invalid argument, right? Which means that even if the premises are true, the conclusion could still be false, right? It doesn't have that proper relationship with itself. So if a deductive argument is valid, then we want to go out and check and see if the premises are true in the world. Then if it's deductively valid and the premises are true, then we have the best possible argument, a sound argument. Okay, so a sound argument is deductively valid and it has true premises. That's the one we want. But again, soundness is going to be really difficult for us if we're making claims, metaphysical claims about things that we can't empirically test, right? Good. Okay.